Okay, grand day. And welcome to the Daily Huddle. My name is Chase Steele Greye. I'll be your host for today. We are always excited because every day we bring you nothing but the great stuff, of course. And today being Tuesday, Health and Wellness, we will not disappoint. But before we get started, I want to just kick it off with a little joke. Today's like a little food joke, we'll say, a little food anecdote. Fareed, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why are herbs so expensive?
I have no idea. Please
Because
tell me.
Fareed, time is money.
Pull
that tape.
Yeah. For sure.
That's awesome.
All right. Good kickoff today. Grand day to everyone. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. Once again, I'm your host, Chase Steele Greye, along with the formidable Gio and Sorrel, always here doing their thing. Today, as always, we have a great topic. I'm going to get to that in a moment, but I'm going to check in with our people as we always do because we care about them. We want to see what's going on with everybody. I'm going to start out with my buddy, Fareed. Today, Fareed, how are you and who will you hug today?
Wow. Today, I am who I say I am. And today, I am healthy. I am happy. And I'm going to hug myself today.
Can't argue with that.
I love myself. Yeah.
Nice to see you. I mean, that's, I can't ask for any more than that. I really
Nothing better than a nice big self hug, right? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to go to someone that I don't think I've ever gone to, and I hope that she's here. Molly, where are you? Okay, maybe she's muted.
I am where I say I am,
like that.
And that is in my apartment office.
Excellent. Nice to hear you. I haven't heard your voice in a long time. Rashida, lastly, what are you grateful for today?
What was your question?
What are you grateful for today?
Oh, I'm grateful for life itself. I'm grateful for the blessing that the universe has granted me today. And I'm grateful for the daily huddle that I'm here.
Daily huddle. Dance moves are extra. So I thought you knew that. Gotta love Rashida. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. You know you're my sister from another mister. So, my good people, we have one of our favorite guests. He's back again because we love him. His name is Dan Cornett. And if you haven't seen him before, I'm going to tell you a little bit something about him. Little bio here. Dan's a former corporate sales representative who turned to nutrition when his stressful career left him obese with multiple chronic diseases, including cancer. After following the guidance of a nutrition coach, Dan was able to reverse his conditions and regain control of his life and career. And this experience inspired him to gain a certification from the Nutritional Therapy Association. Since 2018, Dan has helped hundreds of people to revitalize their lives through the power of optimal nutrition and sustainable lifestyle changes. Welcome to the Daily Huddle, Dan Cornett.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chase.
Great to see you again. Great to see you.
Great to be back. I'm excited again. We've had a lot of great topics over the last few weeks that have been on the show. We've talked about how to set your mindset, to be in the right place to make a lot of these great changes. We talked about the ways that sugar interacts in your body and just the up and down kind of roller coaster that can have on you. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about the common foods that we're eating every single day that can actually be preventing you from losing weight.
Right.
So it's an exciting topic. Love to get into it. If you guys are ready, go ahead and get started.
We were born ready, Dan Cornett. Let's make it happen.
All righty. So obviously, weight loss is a huge topic. There's a lot of factors that go into it. And so many people worldwide are struggling with their health every day, right? And being overweight and obese, is not only a negative effect to your health, but it can increase risk of conditions like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and cancer. But it can also affect your professional life, which a lot of people don't think about, right? But there's studies that have been done that have shown that obese employees are less productive and they need more frequent breaks. They're more likely to be passed over for promotions and raises and bonuses, and they're more likely to be absent from work, according to a study that found that absenteeism, right? So that's the process of showing up for work, right? Or there's also another one called presenteeism, where you're actually at work, but you're not actually doing the job that you're paid to do. But absenteeism was positively associated with central obesity, and that it increased the expected absence rate by 72%. It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
And another study that I looked at was showing that 45% of employers say that they're less inclined to recruit obese candidates, and that obese people are less likely to be regarded as able leaders or have career potential.
Yes.
They also have lower starting salaries. They're more likely to experience bullying and harassment in the workplace, which is terrible. And obese women are less likely to get customer-facing jobs. So not only is this affecting everybody's normal health, but they're also affecting their ability to make a decent wage and living as well. And with over 70% of Americans that are considered either obese or overweight, that's more than 2/3 of the country, you guys. And unfortunately, this number is only increasing as time goes on, with more than 85% of adults that are projected to be overweight or obese by 2030. That's only 7 years from now. And we're going to be almost 85, 90% of our population to be overweight or obese. So the $1 million question really is what's causing this, right? There's pictures that have been floating around social media of people in the 60s and 70s, the beach, and it's hundreds of people, and you can't find one overweight person. Now compare that to pictures from today. Of course, that's a stark difference, right? And of course, we're way more sedentary than we've ever been before due to reliance on technology for our work and for our entertainment purposes, which of course definitely plays a part in it. But I believe there really are just a couple of common foods that we eat literally every day that are largely responsible for the increasing waistline and epidemics of chronic disease that we're seeing now. But before we get too far into it, I do want to set up a little bit of perspective for y'all. So let's get in the Wayback Machine and travel back in time to the year 1911. So just a little over 100 years ago, right? 112 years ago, the world's current oldest person was born in 1907. So it's within their lifetime. She was 4 years old at that time, but it really was a different time, right? So many different things that we experienced back then that we're experiencing now. And many of the common conditions that we struggle with today were non-existent or extremely rare back then. For example, the obesity rate back in the early 1900s was only 1.2% compared to nearly 50% today. Type 2 diabetes and heart disease were medical rarities, right? Or they're virtually unknown, with the very first recorded heart attack happened in 1912. So when it comes down to it, really the single biggest change to our diet in the last 125 years has been the introduction of processed seed oils, otherwise known as vegetable oils. So these oils are canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed, safflower, and grapeseed oils. So these are extremely high in an inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids known as linoleic acid. So polyunsaturated fats, they have a combination of omega-6 and omega-3 fats. So omega-6 really promotes inflammation, while omega-3 promotes anti-inflammatory properties. So our bodies actually need a balance of these fats in order to be healthy. But really the trouble comes with our modern diet that's way out of proportion and skewed toward that inflammatory linoleic acid omega-6. So ideally, we want more of an equal ratio between omega-6 and omega-3, or even a little bit higher on omega-6. So we want kind of more like a 2-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3, but they have to be coming from the right sources, which is really important. And our current standard American diet, which is full of processed foods, is upwards of 21 right now. So that's way out of proportion of what our bodies need. So back in the early 1900s, as we talked about, our diets contained roughly 1 to 2% of our daily calories from linoleic acid. And that was on par traditionally with diets of our ancestors in the past, right, that were leading us up to this point in history. But with the introduction of seed oils, our linoleic acid consumption has risen to 8 to 12% of our daily calories. So this is way, way too much linoleic acid for our bodies. We really only require about 0.5% in our diet to be linoleic acid. And we're upwards of 12 to 15% in some regions as well. So when we consume linoleic acid to excess in the form of things like French fries, anything that's really fried in commercial fryers, right? It's always going to be fried in canola oil, soybean oil, those kind of things. A lot of our, potato chips, corn chips, those kind of things are fried in these oils. Other ultra processed foods, like a lot of your frozen dinners, that you pull out from the freezer, those are going to be full of those oils. Salad dressings, a lot of times are going to be used with these oils, and a lot of your various condiments that are out there. Basically, when we eat a lot of these foods, it can leave the body in a pro-oxidative, pro-inflammatory, toxic, and just nutrient deficient state, right? And omega-6 linoleic acid it's a less stable fatty acid, meaning that it's going to have more bonds in it where oxygen can actually get in and damage the cell. And it accumulates in your tissues, in your cell membranes, and in your mitochondrial membranes, which is going to cause a lot of dysfunction throughout that, and actually changes your metabolism to actually, hold on to and store fat within the cell, because the mechanism to burn fat for fuel is now damaged. So you don't have the ability to actually burn fat for fuel, which you need to actually be able to lose weight. And also, linoleic acid can cause you to gain weight because it essentially shuts off the hormone leptin. So leptin's job is to send a signal to the brain that tells you, whoa, you're full, right? You've eaten too much food. It's time to stop eating. But when omega-6 levels are high in the body, that causes leptin resistance. So kind of like we talked about with insulin resistance, right? It's constantly sending that signal, but insulin keeps on pumping out that hormone, even though the body's telling it, no, we have enough, but it keeps on pumping out. So same thing here, where leptin is trying to send the signal to the brain that you're full, but it's not reaching the brain. And so therefore your body never gets a signal that it's full. And so you continue to overeat, right? Which is going to cause you to gain weight. So when it comes down to it, really over the last 60 years, we've seen just a massive change in our eating habits, which directly contradicts the way that we've been eating for millennia, right? As long as we've been around as a human race, right? So our government guidelines changed drastically. We were told to eat more healthy grains and low fat everything, right? And as a result, we've seen skyrocketing numbers of obesity, heart disease, cancer, and autoimmune conditions. And we talked a couple of weeks ago about the negative effects of sugar on the body, right? But when it comes down to it, guys, sugar and processed seed oils are really driving our state of unhealth in this country and around the entire world, right? I'm sure most of you likely been following the recommended USDA food guidelines or something similar to that for years, right? But I want you to ask yourself a question and say, am I thriving, right? And if you are, that's great. You don't change a thing. But if you're sluggish, if you don't have the energy you once had, if you experience frequent headaches, heartburn, indigestion, insomnia, any other weird medical thing that's going on with you at this time, all of these things really can weigh you down, right? And have a major negative effect on your performance at work and in life. But there's good news, right? These symptoms are very likely a result of the food that you've been eating and the lifestyle that you're living, right? Which means that they're entirely reversible. But the bad news is that processed convenience foods can be highly addictive and very difficult to remove from your diet due to their highly palatable design and the fact that they're easily accessible 24 hours a day, right? You can go to your corner gas station, grab a bag of chips, grab a 64-ounce soda at any time of the day, right? If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, doesn't matter, right? You always have these calories available for you. And the food industry has undoubtedly played a role in your current health crisis. And that's okay, right? To put some of the blame on their bad business tactics and marketing ploys that they've had out there to literally addict you to these products. But it's really time for you to take back control of your health. And that's why I'm here, right? I'm here to support you on that journey. So one of the things that we've been talking about here on the show for the last couple of weeks is that we're going to be doing a challenge with y'all. And I'm excited to get that up and running with y'all. I'm going to share my screen here real quick and just kind of talk about that for a little bit and just let you know what we're doing. So this is going to be a fall healthy eating challenge for y'all. It's going to be running starting next Monday. So just a little under a week from now. So Monday the 16th through Monday the 6th. And basically what this is going to do is really teach you guys the right foods for your body. So like we talked about in the last couple of weeks is that the sugar and the processed carbs, these seed oils that we're consuming constantly, they're in everything that we're eating and that's coming out of a box, out of a bag, the main middle aisles of the grocery store. These are all causing inflammation throughout the body. And inflammation is really the key driver of obesity and diabetes, a lot of those chronic diseases that we're seeing in the public today. So what we want to do is fuel our body with a proper ratio of macronutrients, right? Making sure we're getting the right fats for our bodies, not ones that are going to be inflammatory and oxidative and really damaging to the body, right? We want to make sure we're getting good protein sources every day as well. And then, the right types of carbohydrates that aren't going to spike our blood sugar. And like I talked about before, we want to make sure we have that balance of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids, which really puts our body in ultimate health situation. And then, making sure that we're choosing organic vegetables, fruits, and nuts, which are going to be a good source of those omega-6s, right? They're going to come from a lot of your walnuts and almonds and those kind of things. And then, getting your good omega-3s, which are going to be coming from grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, those kind of things as well. So basically what we're going to be doing on this fall healthy eating challenge is I'm going to challenge y'all to get rid of sugar and processed foods from your life for 7 days. That's it. 7 days. That's all I'm asking. Just make some big changes in your life. And the way I'm going to help you through that is through 3 weeks of 1 hour live support meetings. So we're going to go live 1 hour every week. And it'd be very similar to these kind of daily huddle meetings, right? Where we'll all come in, we'll check in with each other first and support you in any questions or concerns that you have going on. And then dive into a little bit of nutrition education in these meetings as well. So you can learn a little bit about, the dangers of processed foods, which we talked about a little bit here. We'll dive a little bit more into that topic and really guide you through transitioning into a real food diet, right? So a lot of times diets, they're talked about as short-term fixes, right? So what I want you guys to start thinking about is how to transition from your current diet into more of a lifestyle change, right? And that's what I want this to be. And the main way we'll do that is through support, right? So we'll have a private chat forum that's going to be part of this as well. So you're going to have unlimited access to that. So you can chat with the other people in the group. You can send questions to me. I can answer those for you. I'll be posting a lot of cool educational material in there as well. So it'll be really, just fun and engaging place to learn and to also really explore the possibilities that you can see when you change your diets, right? So you're going to get a bunch of nutrition education in this. You're going to get weekly learning materials that are going to go along with it as well. So you can follow along with that and be able to reference back to it after everything's over so that you can continue to make these changes going forward. I'm going to provide a 7-day meal plan for you that's going to be completely customized to your taste buds. So there'll be a form that you can fill out inside the Practice Better website that you're going to sign up for as well. And so it's really cool. You get to fill in.
And he's gone.
To make these changes.
There we go.
So one of the things about support as well is that research has shown that having an accountability partner makes you 65% more likely to meet your goals, but that increases to 95% when you regularly check in with your partner. So whether that's me or you find somebody else in the group to be your support buddy, when you regularly check in with them, you're going to almost 100% hit your goals, which is just unbelievable. So everything you're going to get in here is going to be a 20-minute phone consultation with me. So we can go over your goals, develop a little bit of a strategy to get there, and then also just kind of talk about what you're eating and how to improve those a little bit. So that's a $79 value. You're going to get a 7-day customized meal plan that we talked about already, that $45 value, a complete nutritional analysis. So again, I'm going to look at what you've been eating over the past week or two and what your current diet is and make suggestions on how to improve that. And then you're going to get a customized supplement plan as well. So health supplements are really important to help expedite your health journey, right? So kind of providing the nutrients that you're missing in the food that you're getting, right? So then you're also going to have access to that support group chat that I talked about. So for all of this, for you guys, normally this would be $447, but I am slashing that price for you. And today you can get it all for just one payment of $99, which is an extremely great value. But, we do need to act fast because it's just a 21-day program and it's coming up quick, right? So it's coming up on October 16th. So we need to register by October 15th in order to sign up for that. And again, it's just gonna be 3 weeks. It's gonna be really fun, really engaging for y'all. And the way you're gonna sign up for that is to visit www.advanceyournutrition.com/challenge and click on one of the buttons on there and go through the registration process. It's really quick and easy, I promise. And I think it's just going to be a really fun, engaging project for all of us to really understand how these processed foods and seed oils and sugars really affect your body and just how productive you can be when you eliminate those from your diet. And you'll see that within the first 7 days. And I promise you'll want to continue afterwards. So that's the program today. Do you guys have any questions or on anything I talked about today, whether the processed foods or sugars or seed oils or the challenge itself? I'd love to, open that up for questions here in the last few minutes that we have.
Sorrel, are you here? Is your mic? Oh, okay.
You can hear me?
Yes.
This thing about wine always comes up for me. And do you categorize wine in the same space as processed foods? If not, or if so, how does wine consumption fit into the 21-day program?
So I would challenge you to avoid it for these 21 days and just really kind of take it as a challenge to kind of clean up your diet without having to rely on certain foods, right? So wine, again, it is more of a natural product in the fact that it's, grapes that are fermented and turned into wine, right? And I love wine. I used to sell it for a living. That's what I used to do for work. So like I know how great wine is and I love it, but I do feel like it's important every once in a while to eliminate it from your diet for a little bit, especially if you're trying to clean things up a little bit and just see how your body reacts without it for a period of time and then reintroduce it and just see how you react at that point, right? So sometimes you might notice, oh, that headache was a lot worse after having a couple of glasses of wine, or maybe you didn't sleep as well. Maybe if you're used to waking up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after you've had a couple of glasses of wine at night, if you remove that from your diet for a couple of weeks and maybe you realize that you're sleeping better and you're not waking up in the middle of the night, then maybe that will change your mindset on that and be like, okay, well, maybe I don't have to have that glass of wine, and I love it. I would recommend if you're going to have wine to source it more from a natural state. There's a lot more organic wines that are out there. There's a lot more natural winemaking producers that are starting to come on the market, because a lot of the more commercial wines have a lot of chemicals and additives and a lot of extra things they put in the wine in order to have the McDonald's factor, if you understand. So like basically they want every vintage to kind of taste the same and look the same and all that kind of stuff. So they have to manipulate the wine. They got to add a lot of sugar into it as well, that kind of thing. So it does it will spike your blood sugar, and it will kind of cause you to go on that roller coaster that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I think, again, wine is probably one of the better alcohol choices that you can make. But I would say for the purposes of this program that it would be best to just eliminate it for that time.
Thank you, Dan. And let's say you've graduated from the program and you've met your goals and all that good stuff, and you walk by this organic wine place and you can't resist it, and you pick up a couple of bottles.
Yeah.
How do you go about including alcohol in a way that works in your diet as someone who's graduated from your program?
I would say, to really, really enjoy the wine and not drink it to get drunk. I think there's a difference between that. I think if you're enjoying wine with food, I think it's a great way to really enhance your meal and to, socialize, whatever it might be. But, try to keep it, I would say, earlier in the evening, and try to consume it with your food in order to kind of help you metabolize it a little bit faster. And, try not to have it be after, I would say maybe like 7 o'clock, and try not to have anything with carbohydrates after 7 o'clock. And that's going to help you sleep better, because your body's not going to be processing that sugar and those carbs while you're trying to sleep, right? So sleep is supposed to be a parasympathetic state, but when you're digesting, your body is constantly in motion and it's trying to put nutrients where it needs to go. And it, while you're doing that, again, that can spike your blood sugar, and it can cause a lot of those 2 a.m. wake up calls, right? So try to keep it earlier in the day and keep it with food, and try to, pair it with the food that you're eating, right? So it's more of an enjoyable experience, and, limit it to, 1 glass, or, just try to keep it to a smaller amount. So that way you can enjoy it with your food and with your company, and you can talk about it. And I think that's really where the symbiotic relationship between alcohol and food can actually be beneficial, is, when we talk about it and we are able to socialize and, sit down with a meal and really be able to digest our food a little bit better that way, because we're, again, in more of that parasympathetic state. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you.
Excellent, Dan. A lot of information. I like it. I want to ask you quickly, for those people who may have a situation where they want to see some real world examples of this or read something as a companion, do you recommend, because I've watched a few of the movies that, I'm trying to say it in a way, like a movie that you watched around this nutritional topic that kind of zeroes in on what you're talking about, that maybe someone can watch and be like, oh, wow, interesting,
Yeah, there's one called The Magic Pill.
The Magic Pill.
That is really interesting. And I believe you can find that on Amazon, or there might actually be ways to watch it on YouTube as well. But that's one that I highly recommend. It talks a lot about the government guidelines and kind of how they got set up in the first place. And yeah, so it really dives deep into that, so that it's definitely an eye-opening documentary. But that would be definitely one that I would recommend to check out.
Give people something to grab onto outside of this, because I think that works a lot when people have another place to go and kind of hybridly put things together. And I mean, it's going to be a phenomenal challenge either way. But
yeah,
as soon as you said 21 days no alcohol, I'm sure some people went, I don't know.
Exactly. But it's just one of those things, I think, that we need to do in order to get in tune with our bodies. And if you really want to see results going forward, if you really want to lose weight, if you're really motivated to do that, there's going to be some sacrifices with that. And that's the thing, is like, once you do reach those goals and you get to a place where you are, it's a lot easier for your body to recover. And, you know, say you do have a couple of glasses of wine, or even, you know, 3 or 4 glasses of wine, your body will recover a lot easier the next day if you're in a healthy state, as opposed to if you're 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight and already have high blood sugar, diabetes, that kind of thing. It's going to take your body a lot longer to recover.
Right.
So, you know, that's the thing, is like, you got to put in the work now in order to see the results later.
Totally. Gio, let's get one more question in before we wrap it up.
Yeah, good question. So for people like me, not drinking wine for 21 days is not a big deal. I'm sure for people who are not like me, that's going to take something, given the addicting aspect of that, and so that's a challenge in itself. But what I was going to ask you, the challenge I have for people like me, when you say 21 days without sugar, is that does that include without fruits or processed sugar?
Yeah, talking more processed sugar. Yeah, and
Oh, okay.
you know, I think, yeah, fruit sugar is different, and it does metabolize in the body a little bit different, especially when you're consuming the whole fruit as opposed to just like fruit juice, which can be a big glycemic hit, just the same as drinking a soda can be. But when you consume the fiber along with it, it does slow that metabolism of the sugar down a little bit. And you're getting so many more nutrients in the fruit itself than you would be getting from any sort of processed sugar or just fruit juice itself. So yeah, whole fruit, definitely okay. I wouldn't like gorge on fruit or anything like that. You know, keep it in moderation. You know, I usually have a couple of oranges throughout the day, or maybe an apple or 2, that sort of thing. But you know, not having like a whole fruit salad or something like that. You know, it's like a big old bowl of it. But you know, keep it to moderation. Just a couple, you know, maybe a couple pieces of fruit each day is totally fine.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Really excellent. Well, the time has come upon us once again. Absolutely, like that.
You know, right?
Dan, amazing information. I took some notes. I'm excited to get involved in this as well. Wow. I'll just have to call you. So much to say. So much going on in my head right now, but that's fine. I'm much rather everybody get the information that they need. And it's so great. I'm excited, and I'm sure everyone else is as well. So thank you so much for being here. Again, it's always a pleasure. Your delivery is very smooth and friendly and palpable for everyone, which is a talent. So I want to respect you with that. We're going to end up today with our tenets, as we always do. And of course, we want you to love harder. My goodness. Live out loud. Move your body, right? Eat mostly plant-based, but soon we'll be eating the way Dan tells us to eat, just for a little while. And, you know, stress less, right? The stress down to a minimum. The sleep, I always say this every day, sleep 5 to 8 hours, more towards 8, it changes everything. And that is just the truth, right? And lastly, of course, always checking your internal before you wreck yourself. It is so important. Thank you for joining us on the Daily Huddle. We appreciate you so much. When you're here, it's so much better. Have a spectacular day, and we will see you soon.